for the delivery of the 2026 State of the City Address. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the Honorable Mayor, Marikay Abuzuaiter.
Hello, good afternoon, Greensboro. And welcome to the Pearl. Isn't this a beautiful venue? And if you already haven't gotten tickets to see a show here, please do so. The audio technology in this facility is amazing. And it's fabulous to hear all of the music. And of course, make sure you stop downtown at one of our amazing downtown restaurants or businesses. It's so good to see each and every one of you today, and thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be a part of our event. It is my great honor to stand before you today to deliver the State of the City Address. And before we go any further, I have something to say about council. We came together from a myriad of backgrounds to form a cohesive group. This council thrives on being intentional about everything we do, and I couldn't be more proud of them. Council, if you would please stand to be recognized. We have Mayor Pro Tem Denise Roth, Councilmember Thurm, Councilmember Hugh Holston, Councilmember Irving Alling, I believe is on his way, Councilmember Crystal Black, Councilmember Crawford, Councilmember April Parker, and Councilmember Adam Marshall. Thank you all so much for being here. And I also want to acknowledge our other elected officials in the room, our Guilford County Commissioners, as well as our state and federal representatives. Thank you for your support. And if you would please stand and be recognized. Thank you. It's very exciting to be here in this moment for our fourth State of the City Address and my first. We have had so many wonderful announcements in our city of Greensboro, North Carolina. We continue our tradition of sports tourism and being tournament town. The men's ACC basketball tournament will return to Greensboro in 2027. In 2025-2026, the Greensboro Gargoyles and the Greensboro Groove kicked off their inaugural season. Big 12 Swimming chose the Greensboro Aquatic Center for their conference championship. And the Norwegian World Cup soccer program have called Greensboro their base camp for this entire month. Winning, winning, winning. Winning remains a Greensboro tradition this year. And you know, to honor that, could Greensboro Swarm President Steve Swatoa join me on stage, please? This is huge congratulations to the Swarm on their 10-year anniversary and winning the 25-26 NBA G League Championship. And to honor you and your team, we have a proclamation, and I would like to read most parts of the following proclamation. As you know, proclamations can get pretty long. So we'll kind of shorten it a little bit. Whereas the Greensboro Swarm has proudly represented the city of Greensboro since its inaugural season in 2016, and it has served as the NBA G League affiliate of the Charlotte Hornets, and it provides exciting professional basketball, family entertainment, and community engagement opportunities for residents throughout the region. Whereas the players, coaches, staff, and leadership of the Greensboro Swarm have demonstrated the values of hard work, sportsmanship, and determination, inspiring fans of all ages and showcasing what can be accomplished through collaboration and a shared point of excellence. Whereas the Greensboro Swarms championship season has united fans, energized the community, and created a source of pride for the city of Greensboro as residents celebrate this remarkable achievement and the team's contribution to the growth and vibrancy of our city. Whereas it is fitting that the city of Greensboro recognize and celebrate the Greensboro Swarm, its players, coaches, staff, supporters, and fans for their outstanding accomplishments. Now, therefore, I, Mayor of the City of Greensboro, on behalf of the Greensboro City Council and the citizens of Greensboro, do hereby proclaim June 23rd, 2026 as Greensboro Swarm Day. There you go. And please consider going to the Swarm Championship celebration, which begins right after our State of the City tonight at Mac's Speed Shop. There you go, Steve. Thank you. Thank you. And now, more wins in Greensboro. The Greensboro Whirlies won another state football championship. That makes 10 and even back-to-back championships. Also, New Garden French School won the NCISAA 1A title in basketball. And for milestones, we can't forget that North Carolina A&T State University, in their most recent academic year, broke their all-time enrollment, surpassing 15,000 students. You know, Greensboro continues to grow and break ground throughout the city everywhere you look. Since the last State of the City address, so many, a Legacy Federal Credit Union, Hoffman & Hoffman expanded their operations, and Lumentum, a global leader in cloud and networking applications, selected Greensboro for its new U.S. manufacturing facility. We have seen tremendous growth through large-scale economic projects, but I always like to highlight our small businesses because they are the backbone of Greensboro and a big part of the overall success of our community. Small businesses, so many have opened recently. Let It Glow, a candle bar, Dear Dads downtown, and so many others that are opening. And we need to embrace them and support them. You know, Greensboro is only as big as its small businesses. So let's not forget that. We have Windsor Chavis NOCO Community Complex. It's gone vertical, and we topped off the complex on June 5th. It stays on pace to open in 2027, and this will be one of our crown jewels in East Greensboro. When you go to Country Park, take a moment to stop and honor those that served. This is at the Guilford County Veterans Memorial installation, and it features a Huey helicopter. And the Downtown Greenway 25-year vision reached its completion. Greensboro has received national attention as we celebrated the completion of the first 4-mile loop, a place where people can walk, converse, and visit all across our city. And if you are enjoying a nice afternoon at Revolution Mill, look across the street and you can admire the newly rebranded Mill District Water Tower. It gives major visibility to this historic district. I could talk about Greensboro all day long and all evening, but I do want to give credit to the person who helps us run the city on a daily basis. City Manager Trey Davis. You're right. Stand up, please. Thank you for your hard work and advocacy for this city. And thank you to your assistant city managers, Larry Davis, Nasha McCrae, Andrea Harrell, and Tiffany Oliva. I want to give them a round of applause. And we also have our city clerk's office here. We could not run this city without them. I want to acknowledge our Madam City Attorney, who is always there for us, and want to thank her for that. You know, whether working with the chamber to bring new jobs to the Triad or hiring a brand new police chief, City Manager Davis and our management team embody true leadership. This is why I'm so excited to discuss Vision 36. It is our city's vision and this new council's strategic framework and growth plan for the next 10 years. This process hasn't been done quickly or been taken lightly. Over several months, we met with community stakeholders, universities, students, community leaders, small businesses, and young professionals. We did this to address a fundamental question. What kind of city do we want to be in 10 years? We know Greensboro has steady growth, billions of dollars in investment flooding in, a generation of companies choosing this region. And Greensboro is on the precipice of its next chapter. We have an undeniable opportunity to capitalize on this momentum. In conversation with hundreds of people, they all told us the same thing. We have everything we need, but we just don't always move together. That changes now. There are 5 key realities we need to address: talent retention, geographic equity, stakeholder alignment, income structure, and staff readiness. So that brings us to what Vision 36 actually is. It's not a plan, but it's a framework for decision-making built on the 7 cornerstones of a great city. Simply put, Vision 36 is a shared framework for answering the same question: does this make Greensboro stronger? And that's how decisions will get made, by understanding how initiatives line with where we're going, how it opens the doors for people who have been locked out, how it grows or keeps talent, and how it brings partners to the table, how it pays for itself over time, and how it strengthens our unique identity and makes Greensboro distinctly Greensboro. And so, we'll work together to get aligned and build. We'll show our work along the way. And by 2036, we want Greensboro to be known not for what we built, but for how strategically we built it and who we built it for, by leading first in 5 main focus areas: economic growth, with efforts like our RISE Infill program launched by our Office of Economic Development. It is a new loan program that partners with lenders for redevelopment of underutilized commercial properties, renovation of vacant or aging buildings, and mixed-use development, investment within designated areas across the city. Increasing workforce and opportunity. The city continues to partner with our state government to ensure that Greensboro community is ready to take on the jobs coming to our area. We also have amazing partnerships with our schools, colleges, and universities. Investing in infrastructure and development, which includes caring for the assets we already have in place, strengthens our community for a better quality of life. And this makes sure that Greensboro is and remains a place where people want to live, work, play, and stay. We're doing this in a multitude of ways, like strengthening ordinances across the board. We most recently revised our ordinances to improve housing quality and give code enforcement the much-needed tools that they need. And towards continued investment in our Key Road to 10,000 initiative. That is the signature effort to increase housing capacity in Greensboro by supporting the development of 10,000 new housing units by 2030. As of today, more than 3,200 homes are under construction or completed, and that is only after 1 year. This includes more than 1,720 apartments, 12 duplexes, 805 single-family homes, and 662 townhomes. Our Housing Task Force is also hard at work with recommendations, and these are around what can we do to further accelerate our housing supply. We're not just building 10,000 new homes. We're looking to foster a community for those who live here and those who will come here in the future. Leadership and accountability. We represent the community and their needs, wants, and desires. The rollout of Vision 36 is just beginning. As we move from vision to action, our community will remain at the forefront of every investment, every decision, and every opportunity to shape Greensboro's future together. Now, I'd like to invite an esteemed panel of education leaders to join me on stage. The future of Greensboro is bright, especially with these civic-minded educators in our community. Please join me in welcoming Guilford College President Jean Parvin Bordewick.
President Bordowich is finishing her first year as the president and comes from a long line of Guilford natives. She's had a career as a playwright, a writer, as well as a career in politics and government.
Over there. Yes. Greensboro College President Dr. Lawrence Zarda, my president.
President Zarda was appointed the 18th president of Greensboro College in 2010. He has more than 30 years of experience in K-12 and higher education institutions at both the public and the private level.
And North Carolina A&T State University Chancellor Dr. James R. Martin.
Chancellor Martin was unanimously voted the 13th Chancellor of North Carolina A&T State University, the largest HBCU in the country. He continues on a legacy of educating the best and the brightest in STEM, engineering, nursing, and many other majors.
Thank you all so much for joining me today. This is exciting. We did have, Guilford Tech was unable to come. We know they do a lot of workforce. And also Bennett College was unable to come, but they sent their regrets. And thank you all for making time. Summer, you might have some time off, but truly appreciate, what you are doing. So I'm going to ask some questions. But I want to make sure, that you are each honored in your own way. We left you a little token of our appreciation on your seat. So you please take that with you when you leave. So we'll go to the first question. Vision 36 identifies talent retention as one of Greensboro's biggest challenges. This is something that we have talked about for 20, 25 years. From your perspective, what are the biggest reasons graduates stay in Greensboro, and what are the reasons they leave? And in all of that, as you think about that, what is one thing we as the city could realistically do in the next 5 years to change and make sure they want to stay here? All right, who wants to go first?
All right, I'll start off.
Okay.
I'm not sure my mic there.
Yes, it's on.
Thank you so
Dr.
much
Porter.
for having us, Mayor. I was really inspired by your remarks and by what you're doing with Vision 36. I was reflecting on just like the city with the dynamic future you have and the way you're really, I can't believe the change in Greensboro from when I last lived here until today. It's just a completely different place with a lot of excitement. And of course, that's important to students. They want to be in a dynamic environment. I mean, in the same way at Guilford, we also will be announcing our new plans very soon, our own vision and framework for decision-making for the future. And we also are ascending, and I think we'll be growing together in a very exciting way. When I think about our students, and perhaps others as well, I think we probably all have a similar answer, which is to say that the most important thing that we're finding, and that's an issue for us that I think the city can help with, is the opportunity to have some kind of work experience before they graduate. So we're a liberal arts college. We're a small liberal arts college. We intend to stay that way. And we know that a liberal arts education is really the foundation for an ethical and purposeful and meaningful life. But when students graduate today, they don't usually go in, there aren't a lot of entry-level jobs. Employers expect them to already have work experience. And we had about 62 students last year seniors who are graduating out of our class of 263 who had internships that were official internships. We had others who found their own way. But if we could tell all of our students that you're going to have a meaningful work experience, either paid employment or internships here before you graduate, I think they would stay because the city has so much going for it. But they need to have employment, and that's where I think we could do a better job of making the connections between our students and your city.
So what I'm hearing is we need to promote, we do have some internships. We've got the college campus, Greensboro, and, we need to market that more. We need to take it out to the colleges and universities is what I'm hearing. So certainly making that mental note. Yes, Dr. Zarda?
I certainly agree with President Bordowick in terms of what she said. We're about into the second or third year where we now require an internship of every graduate of Greensboro College. Some of them are unpaid, as you would expect, but we also have some very generous donors who are funding scholarships for those who are doing unpaid internships as well. The other thing I would note is I think we, and the we here is ubiquitous, it's the city, it's the institutions, probably need to kind of double down on making sure our students really understand all the advantages of staying in Greensboro. Even when I teach, I ask my students, have you been to Lake Townsend? How about the Science Center? Have you gone to something at the White Oak or maybe the Pearl or the Tanger? Do you know about the various gyms in the area or the churches? I think we all need to make sure we really sell Greensboro to say this is a great place to live.
Great, thank you. Dr. Martin?
Yeah, I would agree. And I have to say, I love that music that you were playing. I recognize that music from the great marching machine.
Yes, yes.
We're all in the same business here. At North Carolina A&T, we're just blessed to have such strong demand. Last year, we had 48,000 applicants for less than 3,000 first-time freshmen. And it shows the ability of people to recognize the incredible value that we're providing. 62% of our students stay here. We're number 2 in the state in terms of creating starting salary. And so the ability for our students, we have the demand. It comes down to having the right mix of housing availability, but also our students should be able to really get into the flow of their career faster without moving out of the area. So that means innovation districts, the ability to create GDP, to commercialize what they're doing, and to be able to keep that here and not have to go off to some other urban center. So us working together collaboratively, strategically, to create zones of innovation where we're actually creating or keeping the knowledge that we create here, especially as a research institution, where we got great jobs, and our students are not just focused on getting great jobs. We're generating students to create jobs, right? So we're talking about significant ability to be gravitational for the region by being strategic together.
Great, thank you. And that touches on entrepreneurship and all of those things where they will open up their businesses. So this one is for you, Chancellor Martin. You kind of touched on this. North Carolina A&T State University is working towards achieving R1 Research University status. That would be a transformational milestone. What would R1 status mean not just for the university, but for Greensboro's economy, our innovation ecosystem, and ability to attract and retain talent?
Yeah, thanks so much. Let me explain what R1 is. It's short for Research One, and it stands for a categorization of universities in the United States based on how much research they do. And the reason for categorizing those universities is that universities that have a strong level of research activity fundamentally do some things different. The way their budgets are made up, the way the faculty composition is made up, the level of enrollment, the demographics of graduate students versus undergraduates, their level in terms of economic development. And Research One specifically, or R1, means that you're in the upper tier of universities in this country in the research mission. And so we're right on the threshold. In fact, we have passed all the criteria. So the next official announcement, which will be about a year from now, we will be in that category. Now there are approximately, yes, that's something good.
Yes.
Well, let me tell you why that's really critical. There are approximately 4,000 colleges and universities in the United States that offer degrees. There are only about 180 R1 universities, so it's less than 3%. What it really means for the university is every single metric that we care about, whether it's graduation rate, retention rate, attractiveness of students, value of degree, all the economic development that you talked about, what we see in terms of quality, every single one of those measures increases when you become an R1 university. Our allocations from the state, our support from the state, all of that increases as an R1 university. We can hire in higher bands. So our demand for our programs will increase. What it means for the region is that we become more of an economic engine for the region. We have more production of new knowledge that can be converted to innovation. We have a much bigger graduate program, for instance, that draws a lot of people to the region. And the one word that I want to use here is it becomes gravitational. So when you become an R1 university, it means that you have done enough to really show your ability to do impactful research, and people are coming to you. The major agencies are coming here, like the Department of Defense or the Department of War. They're coming here. And also, it means the major companies are coming here to have not just transactional partnerships, but strategic partnerships. And it hits on every one of those objectives that we talked about in Vision 36 to increase quality of life and have this be a place where people come, live, work, and play.
Great.
And stay.
And stay. And stay is mine.
Can you comment on that?
Sure.
I think it's very exciting, and congratulations.
Yes.
This is another area, though, where a lot of our students want to go on to graduate school.
Yes.
And Guilford has a very strong record of that. But having an R1 institution, I think, will again help our students stay in Greensboro because they will have that graduate school pipeline.
Absolutely.
That's so important to them. I mean, we have 3 master's programs, but it's nothing like what you would be offering. And so I see that as being a multiplier in terms of being a magnet for our students as well. They want to stay for graduate school.
I think it all works together. I think it all works together.
I would add to what Chancellor said is that I've been here for 16 years, but before being here, I was at a university outside Washington, George Mason University, and I was there when they became a research one. It is transformational in a way that you almost can't see coming. All of a sudden at George Mason, we were hiring faculty from Michigan, from Berkeley, from Texas. I mean, it makes a huge difference, and congratulations, you're that close.
Yes, congratulations. Thank you.
It's the hard work of a lot of people.
All right, this one's for you, President Bordewick. Many students come to Guilford College from all over the world. What factors influence whether they stay in Greensboro after graduation, and what partnerships would help increase those retention rates?
Right. Some of the reasons I think are pretty common and obvious to all of us. I think that the quality of life, particularly affordability of Greensboro, I hope that as it grows, it doesn't become much more expensive, because that's certainly something we find for our students. Obviously, the employment opportunities, a sense of community. At Guilford, we focus a lot on having our students really learn how to build community. And that's really important, not only for our life and for our city, but honestly for our democracy. I think the diversity of this community and the welcoming that we give to refugees, which has been a hallmark of Greensboro. We have the Early College Refuge Program at Guilford, which launched this refugee partnership with educational institutions. I think that a political climate that's accepting and welcoming of all kinds of people is very appealing to keep young people here. So there are many advantages in addition to employment that the city has. One particular thing, because we do have students from all over the world, and we actually, one of the exciting things we're doing is we've started the Global Academy. Just this semester we had a pilot program with 12 students, but we are growing rapidly. Our early college part of our school, we have Early College Guilford, which many of you know has been for many years rated the #1 high school in North Carolina. And all the juniors and seniors take their courses with our undergraduates from our professors. So we now have an international residential early college community called the Global Academy. We'll have 50 students in the fall. They're coming primarily from Asia, and they are also extremely talented, extremely bright. 16 to 18-year-olds who will be joining with the ECG community at Guilford. Anyway, but what do our international students need when they graduate? And often they need an unusual kind of work opportunity, which is good for employers and it's good for them, the CPTs and the OPTs, where you don't have, if you hire a graduate or an undergraduate under these programs, there's no visa issue and you don't have to pay. A lot of times when you hire an immigrant, you have a very high bar with visa and payment. So for 1 to 3 years, you can hire them. It gives them an opportunity to build a chance to stay in the United States, but it also gives you a highly qualified foreign student to hire without going through the usual hurdles. So we're finding placing those students in Greensboro has been very difficult because a lot of employers don't understand those programs. So one thing the city and others could do is to help employers understand that these students are valuable, but not the hassle that you think they are.
Right, right. I think that we're taking a lot of notes today. So I think that's very helpful for us because we want to know what can we do as a city. Dr. Zarda, your turn. What are the biggest opportunities to create stronger connections between students and employers before graduation? I think we've touched on a little bit of that. And would you like to answer that one?
Yeah, I'd probably, if I could, look back a few years. As I was arriving 16 years ago, there was a group that was just formed called Opportunity Greensboro. And it was a coalition of all the local presidents and chancellors, chairman of the school board, the mayor. It was co-chaired by a corporate executive and a former city manager. And in a period of about 10 or 12 years, that group did some remarkable things. Created the STEM early college at North Carolina A&T. Created the Union Square campus downtown at Elm Street and Gate City Boulevard, created the campus Greensboro Fellows program, and more. For various reasons, a lot of turnover, people leaving, people retiring, and then the pandemic hit, that group stopped operating. And I would say if there's one thing I would recommend we seriously consider, and the city did take a bit of a stab at this a few years ago, but it didn't click for a number of reasons, to put together that group where K-12, higher ed, corporate, elected officials all were working together, and much of it was focused on trying to give our students the opportunities they wouldn't have had otherwise, and largely leading, hopefully, for them to stay. And so, again, if I could make that recommendation,
Sure.
let's talk and see if there's not a way to get that group operating again.
I think it'd be great. I think it'd be great, and I know that staff is taking a lot of notes. So we're good. I love this because we're able to learn. We're able to learn what you see because we can't see everything that you see. Here's a question for all of you. Research consistently shows graduates often stay where they build their professional and personal networks. What can Greensboro do to help students feel connected to the community before they graduate? Who wants to start first?
I'll be glad to start.
Okay.
I think part of that connection starts with the impact that we do. I mean, the brightest people on our campus by far, the most innovative, the most resourceful, the most resilient are our students, right? And these days, especially with tools like artificial intelligence, it's hard to keep up with what they're doing. They're so creative. We want to have an environment where the work they're doing has a direct impact on the region. So we're aligning our research portfolio. We're doing all kinds of impressive research, from Alzheimer's to understanding nerve degeneration, to understanding new materials that we can use in astronautics and aeronautics and advanced materials for aviation. We've got a new artificial intelligence degree. Lots of work in things like nursing, kinesiology, and business finance, a big ag program. All of that is relevant for our region. If we think about food security, if we think about housing issues, if we think about the need to have better infrastructure, if we think about the need to develop more of an innovation community, if we think about the potential to develop a startup community in this region, we've got 67,000 college students right here in Greensboro. And innovation districts, new startups always need talent. It's hard for them to have talent. Our students need experience. They need great things on their resume. They need to have the ability to understand entrepreneurial opportunities. I see all of these as impactful areas, the work they're doing to see that create a difference in their community, and also to be able to participate in the prosperity pathway right now, in startups, in communities. We can supply the labor for these startup communities.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Zarda.
Well, I think also we need to make sure that all of our students at all of our institutions, and again, depending on how you want to count, there are 67,000 students that are truly welcome into all of our different organizations, whether it be public or private or churches or whatever the case might be, to give them those opportunities very early to really get involved. All of us have programs for first-year students, first-year seminars of various sorts, getting them used to college. A few years ago, I taught one where the theme of the group I had was getting to know the city of Greensboro. And they had to go take a photo of themselves in front of the Magnolia House or in front of elsewhere or whatever the case might be. And I think that even though we are a college town, it's just that we are 7 institutions, not one. You know, we're not Ann Arbor with Michigan. You know, we have these very diverse, and that's a great strength of Greensboro, I think. I really do believe that's true. But we need to make sure that all of us are clear that we are a college town and our students are welcome and they are a critically important part of our economy.
And I think that's very, very important because, you know, we see all of the college students and then, you know, then they leave and we don't see them. Sometimes we don't see them in the summer and we could even use them then. I mean, we try to, absolutely. And Dr. Bordeaux?
Sure, just a couple of additional thoughts. One is that we are a little bit on the outskirts. We're on the fast developing western side of town. We are preserving probably the most important woods out there, so people will be able to live in a nice... Woods. Yeah, Guilford Woods with the partnership with the Piedmont Land Conservancy. So as that residential and commercial area grows, at least you'll have an oasis of 140 acres. But what I wanted to say was we might be overlooking some other opportunities. Well, one is our students are a little bit separate from downtown, so transportation is a problem. We only have one bus line. Not everybody has a car. And I know when I was a student at Guilford, I never went downtown because I didn't have a car. And so I think even today that remains a problem. We no longer have the active van service. We used to go around the 5-college consortium. It's very hard for our students to take courses at the other schools. So they're a little bit isolated. If we could find a way to have transportation to come to the Pearl or go to things like that, that would help. Another opportunity, I think, is using our alumni association. So while you want to retain recent graduates or graduate school, you know, after they go to graduate school here, I think our alumni associations could be a powerful way of bringing in people who they leave, they do other things. So when they start families, they see Greensboro as a great place to come back to. And by that time, they're mid-career, and we need them too, not just entry-level people. And I think if we could partner in a way that through our alumni associations, we could keep them connected to Greensboro, keep them connected to all the incredible, exciting things that are happening here, it might make it easier to recruit. And the last thing is our older alumni who are retiring, I see more and more of them coming back to Greensboro because their children are here, their grandchildren, and they may not be employees, but they certainly create jobs in many industries, whether it's healthcare or cultural activities or whatever. So I think an ongoing, lifelong relationship with us and Greensboro and our alums is another way of maybe revitalizing and invigorating certain parts of our economy.
Right, we can't stop now. We've got to continue this collaboration and bring everyone to the table is what I'm hearing, and I think that is most important. Sure.
I want to add one quick thing here. I think I wanted to add on to what you're saying. We typically think of university and colleges from 18 to 23. I think you touched on the fact that we live in a world where it's really important to learn, unlearn, and relearn. And we're going to have to continue to think about lifelong learning. So we have a new initiative called Forever Learning, where we're recruiting not just one student at a time, we're recruiting the entire household. And we're going to be connected for 50, 60, 70 years along the entire lifetime. So we're looking at careers. And so by having these mechanisms by which we give everything, regardless of where you are, something of value, whether it's going back to school, getting a different degree, starting a new business, that will keep a new generation here, especially given the connectivity that we have that allows us to be less geographically dependent to participate in the economy. So we have this long-term vision of how we do.
And I think something that all the colleges and universities have done, and I've seen some of it at Greensboro College where I attended, and then now I've seen it at Elon Law and other places where you have adult programs that so people can work, but yet they can take online courses at night or go in the evenings, things like that. And I think all of you are doing that very well. And I think that we need to promote and support that as well.
And we can prove that an adult student can come back to Greensboro College and become mayor.
I was one.
Great.
Thank you. I was not expecting that, but it's true. I got married, had a family, and said, I need to finish my degree. So I went back several years later, not too many, but that was a great experience. And I think I was one of the very first adult students because they didn't really have it specified that way.
Correct.
Yes, so we kind of created the program, I do believe.
You could have played on the basketball team.
Yes. So that was fun. So now the last question for all of you. Vision 36 emphasizes that Greensboro has everything we need, but that we just need to continuously work more closely together. If the three of you could ask city government, employers, higher education institutions to collaborate on one shared initiative over the next decade, what would it be?
You mean all of us and the city, or each
Yes,
of us
all
and
of
the
us
city?
together.
Okay.
Just in your opinion, what would you like to see? It doesn't mean that we're going to take it and do it tomorrow, but we may have 3 different answers here, and we could take all 3. But what is your one?
Yeah, I would start by saying first, when you say we have everything we need, I think there's some real truth to that. And we have different places in the city, where we may be. Greensboro College has invested very heavily in the Greenway. I mean, the first leg and the last leg were all donated by Greensboro College. Well, we're not done with the Greenway. Let's continue to develop that. So 10 years from now, it's simply a part of the fabric of what Greensboro stands for. And then the other thing I've already said is let's try to work together to bring back what was Opportunity Greensboro. Maybe it needs a new name, because we accomplished some really substantial things with that group.
Super. So that would be yours. Yes, Dr. Bordewick or Chancellor Martin?
I think simply develop the capacity to do really big strategic things. And what I'm saying is really transformational things, the infrastructure, the understanding how to do the real deep feasibility studies, the strategic alignment, like the conversations that we're having, understanding the funding mechanisms and models that we can bring to bear. Public-private partnership has to be a part of it. But those things that really bring us all together, that helps the region become gravitational, that really sets us on the map. And a lot of that is, again, infrastructure investment. I'll give you one example of that. Before I say that, I think parts of that means some of the new partners that we do have to attract here that's not here, like the Department of Defense. That is strategic for North Carolina. So if I have one partner that I would like to see more of in the state of North Carolina and Greensboro, it's the Department of Defense, given that we're one of the top states for defense. But yet, if you look at our overall R&D spend, we're not even in the top 30. And so that needs to be a bigger part of our economy. And locally here, that brings in a lot of things. But I think otherwise, if we look at big projects like the Pearl down in Charlotte, North Carolina, the big public-private partnership that we had there, maybe a smaller version of that, but the ability to really create these transformational projects and not just talk about them, but be able to leverage the support we need, the lobbying that we need, the incredible resource and synergy and strategy that we need to march to where 1 + 1 is much greater than 2 for the region.
Sure. Dr. Bordewick?
Sure, thank you. These are all really important ideas, and I feel like there is a lot of emphasis and success in attracting the kinds of business and educational anchors that we need. I think one thing the city could also really think about is how to make more visible to a larger world. Like, I know the visitors and convention bureaus working on this. The assets here, I think there's not much awareness of Greensboro, and I've lived in a lot of other places. So kind of like we talked about at Guilford a little bit, hiding your light under a bushel, maybe making it more visible. But I think also that people come as visitors as well as residents. And I think for that, things that we have that maybe could be much more featured are, as I sort of referred to before, a culture, a community, that's really grounded in the moral foundations that created this city. The early Quakers, if I may say that, and also the Jewish community, the history of philanthropy, the history of social justice, the history of the Underground Railroad, which partly came through our campus, and the struggles for freedom, racial, interracial, interfaith, other kinds of freedom, the welcoming of refugees. So I think this is the kind of a community. People don't just come for jobs. You get a job, you live in some apartment somewhere. They come for a life that's fulfilling and enriching with other people, with community. I think cultural life is important, and people have different kinds of cultural lives. We could celebrate all of them. So I feel like both for visitors, we could do more to highlight some of our truly inspirational history, as well as the tragic parts of it. And also we could celebrate more with the arts, but we could also make it really clear that we welcome everyone and everyone belongs here, and we celebrate and support that.
And I do want to, yes. And as we finish up, I do want to mention, the arts are a huge part of the culture of Greensboro. If you've seen along the Greenway and everyone in our arts communities, all of those. But I today has really opened my eyes on a lot of what do you see that we could do better. And I think we need more of these discussions. It doesn't always have to be at the state of the city, of course. But, I want you to thank you all so much for taking time to chat with us today. And I truly, truly appreciate everything you said. And we are going to take it to heart, because I think that's the way we can all move together as one. So thank you so much. This concludes our State of the City for this year. And don't forget the Swarm Championship celebration that begins at 6 p.m. tonight at Mac's Speed Shop. We hope you'll join us there. And thanks to all of you for spending your evening with us. And feel free to stay and mingle out front and say hello to your neighbors and friends. Thank you all so much.